Interests are the personal connection that binds us together. They're like threads that are tied to one and the other who are in a relationship together. They fortify and build the strength of the relationship and really are the main thing that determines whether it's going to be a friendship that flourishes or an acquaintance that stagnates or something that just doesn't develop at all. They weave between one another a beautiful tapestry when things flourish, and there are fewer threads between one another when it's an acquaintance or something that fades away. This reality is what I've aimed to replicate inside of Nyched, and it's why I've developed it and created it in the way that I have. And it's one of the reasons why it's so important to me that you are a part of this journey. One of my most recent new connections will come as no surprise to someone who knows me well, but it happened at a cigar shop. Now, the cool thing about a cigar shop is that you already know that you have a shared interest. So now the question is, does anything else line up? And most of us will ask simple questions to people we just met, like, what do you do for fun, or what do you do for a living? Because it tells us, at least on some level, what they're interested in. So this person that I met, we found out that we were both programmers. And that immediately adds a level of, okay, this is how I communicate with this person. And then we found out that we both had similar political ideologies, and we had similar religious ideologies. And in another conversation, we found out that we had a shared interest in a certain type of game. All of these things further reinforce the strength of the relationship, and it could have gone differently. We could have had disagreements on those topics. And those things would have then not strengthened a relationship of friendship potentially, but maybe a relationship of, having challenging conversations with one another, which, if you ask me, is a form of friendship. Maybe not one as deep as someone that you agree with or have all the same interests as, but it's not possible to agree with everyone about everything all of the time. So these threads got tied between us that reinforce this relationship. And it's something where I anticipate seeing this person, and I'm excited about it. And I'm concerned when I don't see him for a while, because we have a friendship that is developing, that is strengthening over time. These connections and threads are dynamic too. They don't only happen when we have a good experience with someone or a shared interest. Sometimes the opposite interest of ours helps to connect threads together. Think about your favorite sports team. A lot of us have friends that don't have the same interest in that favorite sports team. In fact, they may root for the rival team, right? Politics is one thing as well. I've had great experiences talking to people who I don't agree with on politics or ideology. And those oftentimes, most of the time, aren't bad experiences for me. It takes a unique conversation and people to be able to navigate those. People that aren't just immediately going to go to a, angry or hated response, but those create threads as well. Now, am I going to be best friends with people who only have interests that I disagree with them on? No, of course not. But they are dynamic. They intertwine with each other. They get tangled. They get tied into knots. They oftentimes then become, for the good relationships, beautiful tapestries. They are things that we look forward to. They are almost tugged and pulled on throughout the times when we don't get to spend with those people that we enjoy spending our time with most. And as we get tugged and pulled towards them, it's an anticipation of when we get to experience that relationship again. Online new connections and relationships don't work this way. Social media doesn't create an environment where you're able to discover these things easily. It's taken me years to get to know certain people online. And that might just be the nature of things because there's a barrier of a screen in the way. But I don't think it has to be as bad as it is. Algorithms especially put things in front of us that make us feel bad or angry or frustrated So that most of the interactions that we have online are not positive ones the majority of the time, but rather they're negative ones because they learned through the algorithm that that is what keeps us in the platform longer, which gives them an opportunity to put another advertisement in front of us. But at the end of the day, the state of things online right now is not fostering an environment for good relationships or positive interactions or the discovery of what connections people do have together. On Nyched, I hope in the future to add functionality that allows people to find people locally or in areas that they might be traveling to that have similar interests so that they can have face-to-face meetings over coffee or cigars or whatever the interest might be, so that these threads can get tied more strongly and then our online experiences are even more robust. The best way to interact online right now is through social media, and we just talked about the pitfalls of that. So I would like to introduce you to something different. If this is your first time here, you might be like, what's this guy talking about? Well, I created a new type of platform. It's a human interaction platform, and it's called Nyched. Now, if you want to learn more about a human interaction platform, there's other videos to check out. I'll throw a card up here somewhere. Human interaction platforms are different from social media platforms because they started in a different place. I created Nyched to mirror real-world interactions and the way things work through the real world. Those connections, those webs of threads that we weave in our relationships and our friendships and our family ties, those are the types of things that have worked for thousands of years. And it's a pretty good system. And online, it's not quite like that. So my main focus is on you and the interactions that you have between other individuals and other human beings, and to make that as positive of an experience as it can be. Social media doesn't do those things. They put the emphasis on keeping you in the app as long as possible so that they can take things and put it in front of your eyeballs to make money. I start from the other side of things and I put you first. Genuine relationships and conversations can't happen without quality as an underlying theme in those relationships and conversations. There isn't a fast way to get trust and quality into a relationship or a conversation other than really the give and the take, the respect that you show when you are talking with someone. So there's typically a give and a take in any conversation that denotes part of how high the quality is of that conversation. Is the person waiting to let me speak and really listening to what I say? And then am I in turn reciprocating that respect by waiting and listening to what the person has to say? Or is it a jumpy thing that goes from one thing to another? And you can tell that the person that is sitting across from you really isn't listening. They're just thinking about what they want to say next. So part of what I developed into Nyched is an in-app reward system called Stardust. And what it does is it rewards you for quality content. It rewards you for posting your first time in the day. And then that reward system gives you the ability to then go and post and comment more on the platform. Now, what this means is you need to think if you want to spend your Stardust on continuing the conversation. The same way as in a conversation with your friend, you have to decide if you want to spend your time to continue that conversation. Stardust is a really important factor for upping the quality level and almost requiring quality out of what you are posting on the platform so that you have a more enjoyable experience. At Nyched, I endeavor to create ecosystems and products that foster relationships between you and those people that you want to interact with. I want you to be able to have the control of deciding whether you want to have a conversation with a person or not, and to be in control of what type of information you talk about, whether that be an adversarial one in good faith, or it be a relationship that you continue to foster and grow. The only way that you have strong relationships is with strong underlying interests between you and the person that you have that relationship with. Nyched utilizes a handful of things to achieve this, namely taking away the algorithm and gatekeepers as a barrier between you and who you want to interact with, and then replacing that with the Stardust system, the in-app reward system, so you have a reason to police your information on your own. You get to decide. The power is in your hands, and that's the way I always want it to be, and I intend it to be in the future. Nyched is the world's first human interaction platform, and it is totally within your control. To learn more, go to beta.nyched.com. And if you like this video, give it a like. If you have an idea, throw a comment down below. And if you would, honor me by staying tuned because the next video is coming up right now.